Hawk Talk. Here on Wednesday, I'm your host, Carson Gabord, joined along with a esteemed crew of Creston, Austin, Zach, Brendan, and Mason. How are we doing here today, guys?
Pretty good.
Doing good. It's nice out, so
great. Yeah, the weather is extremely... I was honestly really surprised when I saw that it was like 60 degrees today. It was honestly amazing. It doesn't even feel like February at this point, but with that being said, we're going to get straight into our Warhawk thought here on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater. And I believe it was last week early sometime where they discussed the trailer for the NCAA game. I forget what day of the week it was, but that trailer looked pretty good. And I just want to know what you guys think the cover is going to be. Who's going to be on the cover? So we'll start with Creston.
Yeah, it is EA, so I think that somebody money-making like a Deion Sanders is probably going to be on the cover.
That's fair.
I think something cool, though, would be to put each Heisman winner that has won since they've last put out the game is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Or to do like a cool collage where they put every single one that has been on the cover as like a collage so far. And then add like the current one that you'd want to put on there.
Mm-hmm.
I just think something like that would be cool, but it's EA, so we know it's going to be something that's like money-making for them.
That's true. You actually have a very similar take to what I have, but I'll say it when it gets to me. But you guys can also say what your favorite sports video game memory was, or whichever one was your favorite growing up. Austin?
First of all, I'm excited that the game is like finally back. It's been such a long time since, I don't know why it went away, but personally, I would like to see Marvin Harrison Jr. on it. I just feel like he is like, he's not a quarterback. The quarterbacks are always like prioritized there. I love watching the guy play, and I feel like he is like a really big focus going into the draft in this past year. So I feel like he's kind of their like cash grab guy for EA, and I don't know. I like the guy, and I feel like he should be on the cover.
I mean, it would be a nice change of pace from a quarterback, but I mean, I think it'd also be really interesting to have a coach in there too, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, they could always do it like how Madden does it, how it's like they have like the GOAT edition or like a deluxe edition.
Oh,
where you just
yeah.
have different covers.
I know what you're
You can have
talking about,
different
yeah.
athletes or coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could do something like that as well.
Honestly, they probably will.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I think a popular answer is definitely Caleb Williams. I think that's like the top tier, like what everyone thinks it's going to be. I think Deion Sanders is definitely an interesting point. But I also had Marvin Harrison Jr., kind of stole my pick there. Fourth in Heisman voting this year, 1,200 yards, 14 touchdowns. And he's, like we said, one of the best wide receiver prospects in recent years. So I think that it would be definitely a nice change of pace to go from a quarterback to someone. I mean, he still is Marvin Harrison's son. So he still is a money-making person to put on there. But I would personally like to see Marvin Harrison.
Didn't he have a down year compared to like what he was projected to do or something? Like I could have swore other receivers were doing better than him this year.
Yeah, he technically did kind of have a down year. I mean, Odunze outperformed him. But I think, he's just too talented. I mean, he's projected, top 2 pick, top 3 pick.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Mm-hmm.
So personally, I just think they're going to go with the reigning Heisman winner, so I believe it'll be Jaden Daniels. Think he's tremendous for the pick for the cover athlete. Kind of what Creston said earlier. I think with every Heisman winner since NCAA went away, if they had like a mode within the game, like a career highlights, like you know how in Madden, like you had like Madden moments, like replaying legendary things.
Oh yeah, I love that mode.
Like a Henry, at Alabama, his signature runs or stuff like that, like recreate it. And, like for every one you complete, you get coins or whatever. Really think that would be a tremendous addition to the game, as well as, like you said earlier, the Legend Edition having Saban on the cover. I think that'd be tremendous for the game, and I'm so happy it's back. I used to binge NCAA 13, NCAA 14 all the time, rebuilding teams like Bowling Green, Northern Illinois, just taking teams from bottom to the top after a 10-year rebuild. So I'm excited it's back, but I think the cover athlete's going to be Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair assumption, too. Hot take, I don't think he should have won the Heisman. But,
really?
Yeah, I feel like Penix had it in the bag for the majority of the year, just by the record of the teams that he went against and the stats he was putting up. But, I mean, I I was talking about that last semester too, but I mean, I also wouldn't be surprised if either Williams or Daniels was on the cover.
I remember similar to him. I just remember playing NCAA 2013, 2014 just for hours on end. I was a big like dynasty guy at first. I would take like BYU and Yale and just bring them to national superstardom. But we've kind of teased it a little bit. I think it's going to be Nick Saban just because similar to what EA did with John Madden when he passed away. I think there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to be very upset if it is not Nick Saban on the cover. Another thing I will say is please do not do like an ultimate team with this game. I am praying.
Yeah.
I am praying for
Knowing
no
EA,
ultimate
they
team.
definitely will.
They're gonna do something because it's money grabbers, but I can't stand Madden Ultimate Team either. I gave it a try once, and it was by far the worst Madden experience I've had. So I hope that they don't taint it with this game. But I've actually never played an NCAA game before. Never really had the opportunity to. But I also don't know why they particularly stopped for a good chunk of time.
It's because of like the NIL stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the name image
Oh.
likeness
It was
stuff.
actually good old Northwestern that
Yeah.
made them stop.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm happy that they're back because now I can actually play this one. And who I think is going to be on the cover is actually combining what you said, Creston, where it's all the past Heisman winners on the front of the cover with Nick Saban in the background. I think that would be a great memento just for what he did in Alabama, as well as, you know, all the missed opportunities that they had for players to get on the cover. I just think that would be amazing. Odds of them doing it, slim to none, because, I mean, the amount of concept art for, like, sports games covers that they just passed up on, it's really a crime. But, with that being said, we're going to get straight into our first topic, which is the All-Star recap. Now, we're going to be talking about the All-Star game as well as the MVP race, which we talked a little bit last week, but I feel like we didn't really get to dive into that as much. And I also, if there's time, would like to talk about the Bucks situation because that's also a whole other story. But yeah, any thoughts on the All-Star game, guys?
First and foremost, it needs to be changed immediately. What I witnessed on Sunday night was just an atrocity to what you call the game of basketball. No team should ever score more than 150 points.
Yeah.
They scored 211, I believe. What I think the NBA should do, similar to what the MLB used to do, if you incentivize the players, whether it be with a prize pool, you know, for the winning team, or incentivizing home court advantage in the finals for the winning conference, I just feel like we could actually truly appreciate how competitive these players are and the skills that they possess and actually have a really, really good basketball game. If you watch All-Star games from the 80s, 90s, you got, you know, I mean, yeah, they have the highlight dunks, the highlight, you know, goofing around and stuff, but I mean, in the end, fourth quarter, they were playing serious basketball. I mean, the scores would be 96 to 100, and you actually had a really, really good game highlighting the best of the best. So I feel like if they had some sort of incentive that they could offer the players to actually just try, we would see so much individual talent and team talent put together for a really good game. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but with your recommendation of putting it to like home court advantage in the finals, isn't it like every like few years it's Eastern against Western and then it's team captains?
So originally it was East-West, and then the past few years they did kind of a captain's thing. Now they're kind of permanently going back to the East-West format, which I love. I really just like that highlights, you know, not really a rivalry between the two conferences, but I mean, in the end, if you're a Western Conference fan, you're going to root for the Western Conference team in the finals. So it just kind of promotes like that little bit of rivalry that you'd like to see. And I just think by doing that, you would set up a really, really, really good basketball game.
Yeah, I mean, I like it too, but I also like where it's kind of backyard basketball where they just two team captains, pick a player. I love that format so much, but I mean, if it's for the greater of the sport, I mean, the two conferences is just fine too. Mason?
It's similar to what we talked about with like the Pro Bowl a few weeks ago, where it's just stale and it needs to be like revamped. I thought like the best part was just, you know, the LED court, which was something that was completely different from what I've seen personally. Like going over 200 was insane.
Yeah.
I frankly thought could have been, you know, dealt without that. But yeah, similar to you, I kind of like the idea of just doing the whole entire captain's idea and just picking. It kind of gives a little bit more of a, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I understand that most people don't like it because it kind of gives that feeling of like a game versus like a true sport. But I feel like for the players, it's a little bit like more kind of intuitive.
Yeah, and there was definitely some moments where it really didn't look like they were trying to compete. Like, I believe it was Luka that was going for a dunk, and he just looked really slow, and he missed it completely, and then Dame hit the half-court three. So I don't know how they just participate like that in this game. I feel like they should really treat it as if it's a normal game, because it's not only is it better for their performance, I mean, yeah, they may get injured, but it's also better for the sport all around. So I just feel like if they play how they do during the season, it's just going to do wonders for just about every side.
I think something that summed up the All-Star weekend was then when they didn't show one of Jaylen Brown's dunks. They just like completely showed the reaction and didn't show the dunk, and then we had to go to replay. I do think the Sabrina versus Steph event was like unique.
Yeah, I like that too.
I did like that. The skills challenge is always decent to watch. Also, a gripe about the dunk contest. Could we stop jumping over people, please? There was 6 different dunks where somebody jumped over somebody else.
Oh my gosh.
That is absolutely insane.
Why are we pulling out Shaq every year?
Yeah.
Like, it's getting ridiculous.
Also, something that I noticed was that Jaylen Brown is 6'6", meaning he has to jump about 3.5 feet to dunk. Jumping over a 4-foot, like, whatever he did there is not that
Kaiser Nod.
impressive.
Sitting
Yeah.
down too.
Sitting down is not that impressive. Like Mac McClung, yeah, like he's a good dunker, but like when he doesn't have competition, it's not that difficult to. I don't know how like to penalize people for the same kind of dunks, because 6 jumping over people dunks is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's just repetitive, and it almost feels like they're kind of trying to copy years prior. Like, there's only a certain amount of dunks that you can create. So, and then it just becomes repetition. Like, I saw a clip on the internet where Shaq was shown after a dunk, and he was just, like, disgusted. And, like, everybody around him was, too, because it's basically the same stuff. And there's, like, no energy in the stadium when they dunk.
Jaylen Brown actually got booed.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
All right,
the
that
dunk over
might be.
Kai was
Multiple times.
Yeah. And
not
also,
great.
it's like, do we need to make rules for the dunk contest? Like, is that
Yeah,
how bad we're getting? Like,
Honestly, it's getting to that point. Like, when you said to penalize them for doing a certain amount of jump shots or jump dunks, I feel like that should be an automatic, like, -2 or something.
Yeah, like-
because you can't just reward repetition, because then it's just going to get boring like it already has. So it might start to get to the point, if it's not there already, to just take that out, at least for a few years, and then put something else in its place.
especially because we finally get a superstar in Jaylen Brown to do the dunk contest,
Yeah.
and then he does that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like,
just
pathetic.
wasted potential, yeah.
I mean, first off, with the dunk contest, I don't know why it's not like player voted, why we're bringing like G League people up to do it. Like, we should have player voted, like Ja Morant type of people that will put you on a poster, and actually, like, back when we had Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, like,
Oh,
everybody
dude, those are
watched that.
so good,
And I
yeah.
don't think anything's gonna like top that, but still, it just feels like they gave up. I mean,
Yeah.
the dunks, as you were saying, they're repeated. It's the same stuff, just with different people. You know, put the most popular guy on the internet, have him stand there and hold the ball up. You go and jump. It's the games are fun. I like the Steph and Sabrina. I
Yeah.
thought that was good.
That was honestly the highlight, in
and
my
again,
opinion.
they played for a prize. It was like a donation prize, but still, you're playing for something.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, seeing Luka and Jokic, the top, like, 2 MVP people, combined for 20 points, like, in the All-Star game, that's just not, like...
Yeah, that's...
They were jogging.
Yeah, and in the press conference, too, they were, like, just so, like, giggly about it and everything, and
Yeah.
joking about one another. And it's like, yeah, this is meant to be fun and everything, but, I mean, you're supposed to be competitive all year round, so it doesn't really look the best for them. But, I mean, I really do love the three-point contest.
Yeah. And like the idea that they don't want to get hurt or want to like have a break. Well, they have a break after the contest. Like they should be playing, like everyone was saying, like for something. There should be a prize or some sort of advantage or something, because if you're just having guys go out there, they stop at the half court line and start walking. Like it's like playing pickup with a bunch of like random guys at the park that just give up after a couple games. And it's just sad. Like, people are spending a lot of money to go to this stuff, and you see your favorite player just walking up and down the court, like Luka dropping 7 points. That's just not, that's not what you want to see. I don't know what they have to do, but they have to fix it.
Yeah, I feel like, going back to what Brendan said, having home court advantage in the finals, I feel like that might be the best reward that you could give them. Granted, for teams that might not have a chance of making it to the finals, they still might treat it as that. But I mean, at least the majority of the team will be pumped up enough that it might spark a flame in them to compete a little bit more. But yeah.
I would agree that Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry was definitely the highlight of the weekend.
Praise be.
I definitely have a lot of respect for Sabrina Ionescu. She dropped 26 while shooting from the men's three-point line. I thought that was really impressive. Just a great moment for women's basketball and just basketball in general. When it comes to the dunk contest, I thought not just the dunks were horrible, but the judges were also really bad. It seemed that they were trying to give this to Jaylen Brown so bad, because he is like the first superstar to do it in a while. So I think they were trying to give him better scores than he really should have gotten. But yeah, when it comes to the actual All-Star game, I mean, largest amount of points scored, 397. It just seems like the players don't care. They just don't really try. I mean, there was one time during the All-Star game when Luka just chucked it from like 3/4 court, hit the top of the backboard. He's like, oh yeah, I just wanted 2 for 1. Like, okay, well, we can tell you're not trying. I think Shannon Sharp, actually, he had a really good reaction to the All-Star game. He said that players care more about being selected than they actually do playing in the game. And I thought that pretty much summed up how it's been the past couple of years.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I'm glad that somebody said that, because that might bring light to it a little bit. But they might just think that being voted an all-star is like good enough for them. Like, that's their reward. Whereas playing in the game and winning the game is the reward. So I feel like all the players are losing a little bit of touch of that. I also think that for dunking, I've thought that they should just choose the best player available for that, like every year. So, I mean, even if it is the same player every year, so be it, but at least it'll be entertaining each year. So, I mean, that's just my gripe with the dunk contest. I've seen it dip down insanely over the past few years, but something that I saw on ESPN, I believe, was that they would potentially, or they would like to do, World versus USA All-Star Game. I think that would be pretty cool. I think World would destroy the USA because you got guys like Doncic, Jokic, and Giannis against an aging Durant, an aging Curry, and an old LeBron. So, granted, those guys are great, but what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I disagree that the world would dominate.
Really?
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. The world definitely, in the past 20 years, it's significantly better. I mean, arguably the top two players in Doncic and Jokic, but I mean, you still got to understand, a majority of the NBA is from the U.S., and even with Durant, LeBron, Curry, there's a lot of other guys, Kyrie, Embiid's now considered a U.S. citizen, so Embiid would be a part of the U.S. team.
No way.
Yeah,
that guy's accent is so thick. There's no way.
He's going to be on the U.S. Olympic team this year. So I think it would be a tremendous game. I wouldn't mind to see that for the All-Star game, but I don't think it'd be as big of a blowout as you think it would be. I like I said, you got Curry, Jokic, and then throw in SGA and RJ Barrett, Canada, but then after that, their depth really isn't as much as the United States. It's more at the point.
Yeah, I think depth is where they kind of lose the competition, yeah. But, I mean, just hearing that all-star starting five is that's enough to make me get pumped up, I think.
It would be a tremendous concept, and I think I'd like to see that. But once again, I don't think that they could properly implement a incentive-based system to actually have players.
Yeah, then it gets real tough to find something, yeah. I mean, I don't want to say give them, money because Giannis didn't really care about the money.
Richer.
Yeah, exactly. And Giannis didn't really care about the money about the in-season tournament. So I mean, if they do that format, I don't really know how they would end up rewarding the players. I mean, they could do the teams that they're on, but I just then it gets kind of wonky. But
Yeah, there's just too many variables there.
yeah,
just to-
exactly. Which I think that's why they're not
Which is
doing
why I
it.
believe, like I said, going back to what I said previously, the home court advantage, like you actually have something to play for.
Right.
You know, like it's, even if you play for like the Hornets or the Pistons and, say LaMelo makes an all-star game, just having the Eastern Conference, like that one game being dictating who gets home court advantage. I mean, if it comes down to a game 7, that all-star game has so much more meaning than
That's
it ever
true.
did before. So I just think that's probably the best way to fix the all-star game. As for the other events, I think we should get rid of the dunk contest, by the way, kind of
Yeah.
retracting
Yeah,
that a little bit
at
there.
least for a few years, just so that we can have some time off from it. But yeah,
just-
I agree with you. Yeah.
Real quick, I think when it comes to the dunk contest, I would love to see them open it up to the public. I think if they had like a street ball dunk contest kind of thing, I
Jordan
think that would
Kilganon.
totally save it.
I mean, that would be. So you're talking about like the fans go in and do it?
Yeah, just anyone that can just. I mean, you see dunks online all the time, and you're like, okay, well, why can't they do that in the dunk contest? Just have them be in the dunk
Jordan
contest.
Kilganon's a prime example.
There you
If
go.
he was in the dunk contest.
So,
Like just like the best professional like street ball dunkers, like guys that
Okay.
you don't see before, you give them a chance to highlight. If they
Oh.
actually have something like the TV time to like go out there and celebrate, I just think it would just make that contest so much more. Because,
Well, they would actually
Yeah.
try.
yeah,
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
because they, it wouldn't be Jalen Brown dunking over a 4'11" guy in a chair. I mean, come on. But yeah, just the dunk contest in general, just it needs to go.
yeah. And when you said open it to the public, I immediately thought of like a 450-pound guy trying to dunk it. And I was like,
Just like
I'd
thinking random
pay
out
to
of the
see that. I'd 100% pay to see that. But
Awesome.
does anybody else have any thoughts on the World versus USA kind of format?
Well,
Or-
I do think they might get tired of that one too. I mean, when originally the All Star game moved to like a captains kind of thing, like they actually tried. They put like some effort
Yeah.
into it, and then after a couple years, they stopped trying to do it. I think if we do the same thing, I think it's going to be like, oh, they'll try for a couple years, and then after a couple years, they just kind of get tired of it, and then just it'll be the same thing as we have right now.
And you'd also see, real quick, you'd also see a lot more snubs too. Because
Yeah.
by filling in the international players, like the 10th and 11th man, you'd have a lot of U.S. guys that are worthy of being an all-stars. Like a Trey Young, could get left out, or
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes.
That's-
Guys that were fringe all-stars this year that definitely wouldn't make it if it was a total pool.
That's very true. That format might be just one of those where it's greater on paper than it is executed. But there were some snubs this All-Star game as well. Is there any that really stood out to you? I know I have like a couple, but anybody want to share first?
I have a big one. Domantas Sabonis.
Yep.
Not making it. I mean, I watched the guy a lot, and I think he's a really good center. He can do it all now. I mean, that's kind of what the center position does now is pass, rebound, shoot, and his three-point obviously isn't that great, but I mean, the guy was leading the league in rebounds. He was, I don't remember what he was in assists, but he was pretty high in assists. His points are all right, but then again, he has De'Aaron Fox, but I mean, he was better than a decent amount of these guys, and they just forgot about him just because he's not this marketable guy, and that's what the All-Star kind of seems like
Yep.
now. It's
Exactly.
who can make them the most money.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my big guy that I thought was snubbed.
I had him up there too because he definitely had some noteworthy stats that should have put him over the edge. But I mean, yeah, it's a popularity contest once again, which is really unfortunate. But
A guy that I looked at was Alperen Sengun for the Rockets. He's averaging 21 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists with a steal per game and about a block per game. And, I mean, he plays for the Rockets, yes, which, like you said, the popularity, people don't watch the Rockets. And I just think that's
Yeah.
unfortunate because a guy who's, 6'10", 6'11", and he's got 5 assists, 9 rebounds, 21 points, and I think he's shooting the three at, 31%, which isn't bad, but it's not good. I don't know. I just feel like having these small market teams that aren't getting that attention kind of, I mean, yes, you want to see the Lukas, the Jokic's, but I also want to see the guys trying to prove a point, which
exactly, yeah.
which might actually incentivize them playing better because they're like, oh, I play on the Hornets, like he was talking about earlier. It's like, I'm gonna show people why they should watch the Hornets.
Yeah, give it to people that actually deserve it, work hard for it, and not just. I still can't stand the popularity thing. That bothers me so much. But to have those small market kind of teams with those like star players on there get in there. I think it would do wonders for just attracting fans to those teams where it's like, oh, I've never heard of the Hornets before this guy. And then they watch it and it's like, hey, that's my new favorite team. So I think that would be amazing. But, I mean, it's the chances of good things happening in sports is kind of low.
Do you want to go or do you want me
Go
to
ahead, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take Derek White just because he's on like the best team in the league right now with the Celtics and everything. And without him, like their defense wouldn't be as smothering as it is. He continues to get better as a shooter. Like his playmaking is huge for them. He continuously just does good with like assists. I know he's averaging about 5 a game. Like their defense wouldn't be like nothing without Derek White, and he's very good. Like the main reason why the Celtics team is doing as good as they are.
I remember watching Derek White, man. He was really something for that team, and he still is something. I just don't like him, but I mean, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, Derek White's a tremendous glue guy, and if he was the number one option for a team, say like the Pistons, the Wizards, I think he'd actually be averaging 28 points a game, 8 assists. But because that Celtics roster is so deep, his talent is like so under the radar, kind of per se. Biggest snub I had, I mean, it was already mentioned, but I think it's fairly obvious to address the elephant in the room. Domantas Sabonis should have been an All-Star this year. I don't
Yep.
care what you say. I'm just gonna enhance that. Leads the league in double-doubles, and he leads the league in triple-doubles. And if you look at the total points, rebounds, total assists, he's top 5 in every major category. And he wasn't an All-Star. It just blows my mind just because someone, like you said, isn't a marketable player and he plays for Sacramento, which is like of the California teams, like the bottom of the list. It is just mind-blowing that you want to have this game showcasing the best of the best, and you have a guy who's pretty close to being an MVP candidate and not even selected for the game. It's bewildering to me, and it's just another reason why the All-Star game is just a pity to watch. And I know it was already said, but I just really wanted to stress the fact he has 18 triple-doubles this season. Jokic has 15. He has 18% of all triple-doubles in the NBA this season by himself. And he's not in the All-Star game. Rant done. Domantas Sabonis should have been. It blows my mind.
I'm preaching to the choir.
Well, I also had Domantas Sabonis, but I'm not gonna like talk too much about that. You guys pretty much covered everything I was gonna say, anyways. So I had De'Aaron Fox. I think that just both the Kings guys should have
One of my
been in
guys,
there.
yep. Mhm.
Yeah, because I mean he's leading a good Sacramento Kings team. This is a good Sacramento Kings team, and they're proving that last year was not a fluke. I mean, he's averaging 26, 4, and 5, shooting almost 40% from 3. I think he definitely should have got. I like the Sengun shout. I thought that he's been playing very good this year. I'm on my fantasy team, so obviously maybe I'm a little biased there. But last guy I have is Rudy Gobert.
Another one of my guys. Wow.
I think that, I mean, he's leading a Timberwolves team that is number 1 in defense, I believe, right now. I mean, he's got elite rim protection. He's second in the league in rebounds per game. I just think that his impact with the Timberwolves is something that should have gotten him in the All-Star game.
I would have put him in over Adebayo. I mean,
I can agree with that, yeah.
I don't really see the hype behind Adebayo. Don't get me wrong, he's a good player. He's great for that team, but I just feel like Gobert would have been so much better.
Yeah, Gobert, to what you said, Gobert's value really isn't measured statistically, so he's not really flashy. But his overall defensive impact, a lot of people like to, hate on him just for not being that great of an offensive player. But just witnessing games that the Timberwolves have played, I mean, within 3 feet of the basket, teams are terrified to go to the rim just because he's standing there. His impact as a defender is tremendous, and I think that's a great choice for a snub.
I usually have him at like top 15 defenders year in and out. Yeah, easily. I mean, he's a really remarkable type of player.
He's probably top 3 in DPOY as of
number
this
1.
year right now.
He's number 1 right now?
Is he?
Wow.
Well, I think it's a 3-man race. I think it's him. I think it's Wemby, and I think it's Anthony Davis. I think it's
the fact
he's
that
in the
Wemby
3.
is in the conversation is amazing.
I think I think he should win it.
I agree.
He's leading the league in blocks.
He leads the league in blocks,
Yeah.
and he's like 3rd in total steals. He has more blocks and steals this season than Rudy Gobert's last Defensive Player of the Year award.
As a rookie. on
wow.
minutes
And we're
restriction.
halfway through the season.
Okay, you
I'm
know
so
what?
excited for it.
With that being said, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
He's an alien.
Yeah, he's one of a kind for sure.
Oh, man.
Austin?
Are we just talking about more snubs?
Yeah. Do you have a snub?
I mean, the main one was kind of Sabonis. That's just the guy that I've been
Yeah.
honing in on. I'll just talk about Paolo Banchero in the All-Star game. I mean, Bam Adebayo.
Yep.
like these guys shouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
I feel like you should have these more role players because they're actually going to want to play. They're actually going to try. You're not going to have these guys just kind of walking up and down the court. They're going to actually try, and I feel like that's what's wrong with the All-Star game. I feel like if you get a 5 of obviously the stars, maybe don't even play them. Just give them like that star kind of thing, and then you let these kind of lower level stars go. I would rather watch that than just have a 3-point just shootout.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
love
fair.
Dame, and I love that like he got MVP and everything, but like him just pulling up from half court and stuff. Like
Yeah. Didn't he do it twice?
Yeah.
Yeah. He should have some class.
it's exciting to watch the first time.
Yeah, and then the second
watching
time-
everyone else like watching Luka just chuck the ball. Like, what are we doing here? This isn't
Exactly,
practice.
exactly,
This is like the
yeah.
All-Star game.
Mhm.
Just, I don't know.
Not what it
They-
used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah, and speaking of direction, we're gonna have to skip the other parts of this segment in order to get to Batter's Box later on. But first, we're gonna go to our favorite segment, Hawks and Hockey. Now, I would like to go first for the Kraken this time, if that's fine with everybody.
That's fine by me.
But I am really not too confident in this team anymore. I mean, we're just really lacking consistency, and we go against the Canucks tomorrow, which last time we went against them a month or two ago, it was a 5-1 loss, and we do not have the manpower to do it again. I mean, ever since we got Tomas, our offense has kicked it up another notch, but I mean, we're just not really there yet. I would be shocked if we make the playoffs, but last I checked, we were like 3 spots behind, so it's going to be a little bit rough. I believe Nashville was ahead of us at one point,
In Minnesota right now.
and Minnesota. Okay, so I'll have something to root for in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but yeah, this team is just, I mean, the goalie situation has just gone down a little bit more than I would like it to. Dackard, I mean, he was really good for all of January, and then the beginning of February, he kind of had a dip, and now they're going back to Grubauer, and Grubauer's not doing any better. Although the last 2 games, our last 2 wins, they were voted like the best player. They had the best performance at the time. But, I mean, one of those was a shootout, and it was against the Islanders. So that's, I don't really like that. And then we lost to Detroit in overtime. So,
Brutal.
yeah, pretty brutal so far, but I'm sure we'll get back into it some point because we usually do. But I would love to hear about the Wild, Creston.
It's a little bit of a rough week.
Yeah?
Yeah. They went 1-2. Lost to the Sabres 3-2 in overtime. They had the absolute, no pun intended, wildest game I've ever seen in my life.
Amazing.
Down 5-1, score 5 goals within the first 6 minutes of the third period, win 10-7. Kaprizov and Eriksson Ek both had hat tricks. And then they lost yesterday to the Jets.
Yeah, which they shouldn't have. And
right.
yeah.
Going off of that, I just think the issue with this team right now is they let themselves get down early, and going against a team like the Jets, I mean, the Canucks, I believe, was a fluke, but
Yeah.
whatever. But going against teams looking forward, like, you can't go down 2-0 in the first period. It's just not going to. They play the Oilers tomorrow, which is a tough game. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the Oilers. They have a lot of firepower. I don't know. And then they play Seattle, Carolina, Nashville. So teams that they need to beat, especially because they are 2 spots behind the second wild card right now, 2 points behind. Something I never thought I would say is Fleury has been playing really well.
Yeah.
And Gustafsson has not. Like we were talking about last week, this team is just like, you get your highs and you ride it, and then it's just,
Yep.
I don't know, this, and I don't even know what you trade for. Maybe get a defenseman to give Faber a break every now and then, lighten his load a little bit, but I don't know, it's just frustrating.
Yeah, it most certainly is. And I mean, I feel like they spent most of their energy on the Canucks game. I mean, 2 players having hat tricks is something I've never even heard of before. So, I mean, the fact that we got to experience that was just amazing. And I'm really happy that it was Eriksson Ek because he's on my fantasy team and he helped me win.
I'll start off by when I said that the Flames played the Sharks. They lost 6-3, which is not.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah,
Ooh.
It is. And then they went on to lose 5-0 to the Red Wings. But they came back. They beat the Jets 6-3. So it seems that they play good against good teams and they give up against bad teams. I don't know.
That sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know. I feel like they should tank now. I mean, they have a really good rookie, Connor Zary. He's pretty underappreciated, but after looking at all the trades, it looks like we're getting rid of Noah Hannafin. I mean, a lot of proposals have him going to the Bruins for a 2026 second rounder, 2025 third. We dropped below the Kraken now. I just feel like it's kind of time to mail it in, I guess you could say, but they don't have a whole lot of guys.
No,
I feel like they should try to build around Zary and just, yeah. I mean, it was a controversial move to send out Hannafin and keep Markstrom, but it's whatever, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, that guy was a big locker room guy and a foundation for quite some time. So how you guys recover from that, I'm definitely going to be interested in.
Yeah, I don't be surprised if things really go downhill from here. But
Love the optimism, man. Wow.
I gotta be real sometimes, and it's not looking good.
Well, just a lot of losing for the Blackhawks.
It's the same thing every week.
It literally is, yeah. Connor Bedard returned, which I guess is like some sort of hope.
Yep, that's a first, yeah.
Yeah, put in 2 goals and 4 assists since he's returned in the 3 games that he has returned in. They dropped 2 out of their last 3. They lost to the Penguins. Sidney Crosby did Sidney Crosby things, 2 goals. Dickinson scored the winning goal against the Senators. First win in a long time. First win out of the last 10 games, I think. And then Spencer Martin, who the Hurricanes just picked up, had 14 saves in another loss. They're not really particularly good in any area. I mean, they have Bedard, but other than that, it's like, what do they really have? They're particularly bad in power plays. I mean, the percentage, they only convert in 13.1% of that. And since they're dead last in the league, they're really bad at that. And they're on pace to finish with just 48 points, which is the worst in a full season since 56, 57. So, they're just pretty bad. They're bad. That's all I got to say.
And with the power play, that's something that they've dealt with for years, I'm pretty sure. I remember earlier this year they went against us and we just destroyed them in power play every time. So
you just got to pick up some players to that do that well. So,
yeah. Stay away from the penalties. Yeah.
The Predators once again had a midweek average. Had a big game against Dallas at home, and we lost 9-2. Not great. And then we go out. We play the Blues in Vegas 2 times in 3 nights, and we win both of them in Vegas and at St. Louis. So the Predators are just they're an intriguing team to watch because you don't know which version of them you're going to get. Are they going to be the wild card team or are they going to be the bottom of the barrel team? And it's fun to watch. Quick shout out to Roman Josi in the 2 wins against the Blues and the Golden Knights. He had 4 assists between those 2 games. Played tremendous. And last night against Vegas, the team just fired on all cylinders. Vegas is dominant at home. And the Predators came out there and looked like the Bruins practically. They had 40 shots on goal. It was just absurd. It was like, what hockey team am I watching?
Yeah, right?
Evangelista has scored a beautiful goal in the first period off a nice Josi assist. And it's so crazy because when they play like they do last night, they have a chance to, be a quarterfinal, semifinal team. And then you have a big game against Dallas, a big divisional game to kind of work your way up the standings. And then you lose 9-2 at home in front of your home crowd. The audience fans were really prepped for that game, and Dallas just comes out and blows us out. But 2-1 on the week, 2 very, very nice road wins at St. Louis and Vegas. We are now tied for 4th in the Central. So playoffs are a possibility, and more and more as the weeks progress, it's looking like it could happen, and especially with, I think they're the bottom 5 youngest team in the NHL. We have a bright future ahead, and now's the time to hop on the Nashville bandwagon.
Yeah, and the fact that you guys beat the Knights, I was so happy because
it was a great game, start to finish.
Yeah, that's huge for you guys too. That's going to be a momentum for a little bit. So yeah, that was a huge game for you guys.
Speaking of momentum, the Bruins have about none of it right now.
Oh,
went 2-5 in the month of February, including losing all 3 from February 13th to February 17th. They have given up a ton of goals this month. If I add it all up, it's going to be about 27, 28 goals in their 7 games this month. It's a rough stretch. They lost first place now to the Panthers in the Atlantic Division. So it's not looking too rough, and the schedule does not lighten up for the Bruins as they go on the road. All those losses recently have come at home as well, which is even more cause for concern. But they go this upcoming tonight against the Oilers, the Canucks tomorrow, and the Flames tomorrow, and then the Canucks on Saturday. Obviously, the Canucks doing very well right now, leading the Pacific Division as well. The Oilers are obviously no slouch. The Flames are kind of revolving around 500, and then they come back against the Kings as well later. So they're not looking too hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have some faith in you guys to win 2 of the next 3. I believe the Oilers one, that one's going to be a tough one. Calgary Flames, I think you guys should get that one. No offense, but.
I won't be surprised.
And then, did you say the Canucks?
Canucks on Saturday, yeah.
Yikes! Yeah, that one's gonna be a loss too. So, I mean, you have enough faith to get you through the week, but yeah, it'll be.
It's looking rough.
Yeah, it'll get brighter soon. But speaking of brighter, we're going to talk about the bright stars so far with the MVP race thus far. Now, the current rankings for MVP are McKinnon, Kucherov, McDavid, Matthews, and Pasternak. I'm surprised that Pasternak is still on there compared to these other guys because, I mean, the first 3 or 4 guys have just really been out of the park thus far. And not to be biased, but I really do feel like Matthews has really put on a show this year. A debate can be made for McKinnon pulling his team together, but I just Matthews pulling off I believe it's 6 or 7 hat tricks in the season. It could be even more than that, and it was even during the first 2 or 3 games where he put up back-to-back hat tricks. So. He's leading the league in goals, if I'm not mistaken.
He is.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that he is. But McDavid and Kucherov have been 2 guys that have also been in the race as well that have also stood out to me. But who do you guys feel like is going to win it? Let's start with Zach.
I'm going to have to go with Kucherov just because he leads in points. And, I mean, he's also top 3 in goals. So, I mean, you just kind of have to go with a guy that scores a lot. Yeah, I mean, if he puts up goals for your team, you obviously have a better chance of winning. So, personally, I'm going to go with Kucherov. I know that McKinnon was it McKinnon that's in the lead, right, for the MVP right now?
Yeah.
Odds on favorite.
Yeah, yes. Kucherov's just right behind him. I think that if he keeps up what he's doing, just scoring points, getting assists, just putting up points, I think that Kucherov's going to take it.
Yeah, and that's fair too. Also, a fun fact: the McDavid did win it last year, and the last time somebody won it back to back was Ovechkin in 2008 and 2009. So, I mean, that's just a little fun fact about the MVP race. That doesn't really have any effect, but I personally just thought that was interesting. But yeah, I could definitely see where you're coming with Kucherov with leading the league in points. He's definitely a team player. Not to say that Matthews isn't, but I feel like points is definitely a crucial stat in this race.
Isn't it crazy how McDavid's 3rd in points this year and he's considered to be having a down year?
I know.
That's just what we expect from him. He's always up there for MVP candidates. I don't think he's quite there this year. I got it down to 3 guys. All 3 we've already mentioned. If you like goals, take Austin Matthews. If you like points, take Nikita Kucherov. If you like a great player who gets points and is actually winning games, because the Tampa Bay Lightning are 4th in the Atlantic Division, I think it has to be Nathan McKinnon. 2nd in the league in points, 5th in the league in goals. He has 59 assists this year. I really love assists in hockey and for just point totals in general. And the Avalanche, even though they just lost first place in the Central Division, I still think they're going to end up winning the Central. I think Dallas is just hot right now. But I think it's McKinnon's award to lose this year.
I mean, I could definitely side with you there. To me, the MVP position or the MVP award is something where it's like if you take a player away from that position on that team, what impact does it make for that team? So I can't really say that it would be vastly detrimental if you went away because they do have Cale Makar, who is a defensive player, but still one of their best players. And
agree.
they do have a great goalie. But, I mean, yeah, I'm not shying away from McKinnon winning it. I mean, I'm sure he more than likely will.
It's between him and Kucherov,
Yeah,
for sure.
it's definitely between the
If
two.
Tampa Bay can pull out, second in the division, if they finish the season strong, it could be Kucherov. But right now, I think they value win totals as long with points, and I think McKinnon and the Avalanche check both of those boxes.
Yeah, they do have the edge on that. I do like how you ranked them all, where it's like goals, points, and then overall. That was smooth. Mason?
I'm obviously Kucherov is just kind of like the top one, just because he's leading in points right now. I would probably go with McDavid personally, just because like obviously I know he's won last year, but a down year and he's still third in points. He's leading the league in assists and everything, and I just feel like Edmonton would just kind of crumble without him a little bit. To me.
I mean, you're definitely you're onto something because I feel like there was a couple times where he was just not performing right for a few weeks last year, and that really showed with them. They do have Draisaitl, but Draisaitl isn't really the guy to take charge of that team in most parts. But I 100% agree with you. If McDavid gets away from that team, it's not looking good for the Oilers, which is, as I stated before, the whole reason of why I think the MVP award is important for that.
Something interesting that was not mentioned, and I know this is a very kind of disappearing kind of stat, is that McKinnon has a plus 14 and Kucherov is at a 0. So
Ooh.
I don't know. I feel like that might be a tiebreaker.
Ties into team
Yeah.
records.
And I feel like we were talking about earlier, as much as people don't want to admit it, team record definitely matters.
100%.
When you look at awards.
Yeah.
And that's why I think McKinnon will win it, just because he's the more marketable guy. He's going to be probably in the playoffs longer. It's all this other stuff that they can just talk about and kind of keep going.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that, yeah.
I'll just kind of finish it off here. I was gonna take McDavid, but he has dropped a little bit recently, so I'm just gonna go with McKinnon. I mean, the points and shots on goal. I mean, he's having a really good year.
Yeah.
You can't really get away from that. But yeah, I'm gonna take McKinnon. He just seems kind of like the
overall guy.
favorite guy. Yeah.
And I mean, I kind of saw that coming. He is still leading the race, and he is overall the best player here. The other guys are they're leading in specific stats. But I still don't know how Pasternak is in there. I mean, yeah, he's a good player, but I could have sworn there was some other players that were better than him this season. But nonetheless, we're going to get into the topic that everybody has been waiting for, Batter's Box. Now, this is a game that I actually created. You have to go against Sandy Koufax, Nolan Ryan, and Randy Johnson, and you have to pick 3 batters, 1 Hall of Famer, 1 player from the past, and 1 current. The draft order that we're going to go in, oh my goodness, we're going to start with Austin, and we're going to go this way. We're going to go around, yep. Sorry, Zach. You shouldn't have said that before the show.
Yeah, you're right. I was just trying to get my players in beforehand.
Are we starting with Hall of Famer?
Yeah, we're starting with Hall of Famer, then we're going past, and then current.
I'm gonna go with the kind of obvious guy here. I'm gonna go with Babe Ruth. I mean, I feel like
Of course.
he just kind of.
Oh.
I mean, I do I even really need to explain it? I feel like everyone knows who he is. He kind of made baseball what it is today. I mean, he's arguably the GOAT. So I'm gonna take him my first pick.
And honestly, that's the smartest decision that you could make with the first overall pick. I don't know. If you were to choose anybody else, I would strangle you. But hey, I'm not. Hey, I'm just saying that this is the right pick. You did good.
I'm gonna go with somebody a little maybe that may make you angry because it's probably not who you would think. I'm gonna go with Ted Williams. Yeah, he had
Come on, man.
he had the highest on base percentage in MLB history at 482. Lowest ever on base percentage was a 372, which was at age 40, which is pretty impressive. 344 batting average throughout his 19-year career. He had a 5.3 home run percent when the league average at that time was a 1.7, and he had a 20.6 base on balls percentage, which means he basically got walked 20% of the time. I feel like bottom of the ninth against a guy like Sonny Koufax and those type of guys getting walked and being in position to score is probably the best thing that you need. You need guys on base to win.
I got you. Now, just so that we can get through everybody, I won't be participating in this game. So with that being said, we're going to go straight to Mason.
I'm gonna go with David Ortiz just because he's like the clutchest hitter, just in kind of like my opinion. He's similar kind of stats, just on base percentage is about 38%. His batting percentage is average around like .286. He's got 541 career home runs, so that's kind of why I chose Ortiz.
Smart pick. I like it.
I am just crushed by the Ted Williams selection.
Yeah.
That was
I love the reaction from you guys.
I thought he was so under the radar. I was going to snag him. Offhand, right as I'm thinking now, I got to go with Mickey Mantle. Put together a lot of home runs for that Yankees team. I forget exactly the nickname, but the lineup of death or like death row or something like that. I can't quite remember. But 536 home runs in his year, career 298 batting average. Anything above 3 is considered elite, but he kind of made up for it a little bit more with his power. Very kind of underrated Yankee during that run. Kind of gets overshadowed by Ruth and Gehrig, DiMaggio. But Mickey Mantle was one of the first like modern power bats, I would say, in baseball. And so I'll have to settle with him. But that Ted Williams pick just crushed me.
He was one of a kind.
Now, I also had Ted Williams.
Oh, my.
So I was devastated when that was said. But I'm going to go with another Yankee. I'm going to go with Lou Gehrig. Now, I know he has a
Ooh.
disease named after him, but he was a hitter. His on-base percentage ranks 6th all-time, and he averaged, I think 340 batting average, which is definitely among, leaders all-time. So I think when it comes to getting a hit, I'm going to take him if I can't take Ted Williams.
Yeah, there you go. And that's the Hall of Famers done. So now we're going to go snake draft. So, Zach, you get to choose a past player.
Okay. So I am going to have to go with Barry Bonds.
Oh, there it is.
We've got a PowerPoint up here with saying don't you dare take Barry Bonds over here.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. I was going to take someone different. I forgot about that. I apologize.
Ooh.
Okay, well, I made my pick. At
It's
this point.
said
I
and
have to deal
done.
with it. I got flustered by Ted Williams getting picked. I selected
You
someone I wasn't
panicked.
supposed to take.
It's all right.
All right, well, Barry Bonds, all-time leader in home runs. He was juicing, but, Duke could get a hit when you wanted him to.
100%, yeah.
Let's take him. I apologize.
Oh, it's all good. I am probably the biggest Barry Bonds fan ever.
Oh, that's
And
why.
I have so many off that head stats about him. He's a legend. He should be in the Hall of Fame. I'll let it sit there. Another should-be Hall of Famer that I'll have to settle with my backup pick is Pete Rose. Obviously, should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what you say. All proof of him and his bets were on the Reds, and you can consider it shady, but you have guys like Ty Cobb, alleged murderer and, domestic violence. Gaylord Perry openly admitted to using a spitball while on the mound. And his book called Me and the Spitter is also in the MLB Hall of Fame, openly admitting to cheating. So, what defines cheating? Why can't Pete Rose be a Hall of Famer? It's all political. I hate it. But in the end, he is the hit king, very consistent, played a long time in the MLB, over 4,000 career hits, never been done before. I got to go with Pete Rose.
Yep. I saw Pete Rose coming eventually, yeah.
I'm going to go Mark McGwire, just on the case that, he was on the steroids, obviously, but 1,400 RBIs, and then, of course, over 1,600 hits, over almost 600 home runs as well. So I got to go with him since the other two took the other ones.
Amazing. I love it.
The person I'm going to go with is Manny Ramirez. He had a 312 batting average, 411 on base percentage. He averaged 39 homers a season, 129 RBIs a season. He homered at 6% of his at bats. I mean, if you need a guy to hit the ball and get people on base, get people around the bases, I feel like he's a good guy to get you what you need there.
There's the statistical matter. All right, there's strategy. Interesting. Okay.
I told you before the show I was gonna shake things up a little bit.
Yep. I've been waiting.
I'm gonna take Ryan Braun.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
I'm gonna take the kind of hometown hero here. I mean, you can roll your eyes all you want. He got it done when it was needed. He would send Bernie down that slide. I mean, as a kid going to those games, seeing those, he gets overshadowed by what he did. You know, I mean, he obviously had that anti-aging and the steroid use, and then lied about it, and then got caught again. But I mean, he was just, I don't know. He was growing up. He was my favorite player. I always wanted to be like him, and his stats may not, go against other people's, but it's not always about the stats.
I'm starting to question you, saying that you've always wanted to be like him after he lied.
Not before I knew what happened.
All right.
Back when he was
Okay. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we got you. All right, and now we move on to present players, which honestly, I feel like I shouldn't even give you this one, Austin, because I already know who you're going to choose. So actually, because you already had the first round, I'm going to give it to Creston.
I'm going to go with Luis Arraez. In his 5-year career, his lowest batting average is a 294. He had a 5.5 strikeout percentage this past season. His slugging percentage has never been lower than 375. He doesn't get as many people on base, but, or he doesn't hit home runs, but, he's just more of like a power guy, and he doesn't strike out. I've also saw a stat that he doesn't swing at like 60% of balls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like that's a guy that you obviously need if you're in a pinch.
Yeah. You're thinking Moneyball. Okay. Now with these next few picks, we might need to go a little bit quicker than hoped. But Mason?
I'm going to go Kyle Schwarber just because it's either a strikeout or he's hitting one about 480 feet, and I'll take the chances that he hits one that far.
All right, nice.
I got to go with Juan Soto. He has a really intriguing stat about him. He easily has the best eye in baseball. There's a really fun stat called ozone, which is percentage of pitches swung out outside the strike zone, and he has the lowest of that in the league, which is 20%, meaning of every 5 balls he gets, he only swings at one of them, which is insane, incredible eye, and we are not even close to his prime yet. So I'm going to take Juan Soto because I trust him to find a pitch to hit and put it in play.
I do like Juan Soto.
So I know a lot of people think I'm going to take Shohei Ohtani, but I'm not. I'm going to take Ronald Acuna Jr.
What the heck? How is this guy still available?
I don't know. Dude led in hits. He led in runs. He led in on-base percentage. So, I think that's a steal personally with the 4th pick.
And
So
he
I'm
led in
taking
stolen
it.
bases.
That's fair. Austin, finish us up.
I'll take Ohtani.
Okay.
I'll kind of.
I'm so
All right.
What a
shocked.
trio.
Yeah.
Babe Ruth, Ryan Braun, Shohei Ohtani.
I'm
Doesn't get
so
much better than
shocked that Aaron Judge was not picked. That's crazy to me.
Well, it's either home run or strikeout, I guess.
I guess,
We
but
want guys that get on base.
I guess, but okay. So now I got to choose a winner here, huh? Oh my gosh, it's so tough. If you didn't choose Ryan Braun, you really could have had like a clean
I said I
sweep.
wanted to shake
I think it's
things
got to
up.
be
I just-
Creston.
Oh, yeah, Ted Williams,
pick.
yeah, Manny Ramirez,
And
and
then second
yeah.
over here with Bonds and Acuna. That's a pretty lethal combination.
I don't know. It is lethal, but Ohtani and Babe Ruth.
But mine didn't cheat.
That's true. That is true. He's got you beat there, but there was some other statistics that I wanted to mention for this, but unfortunately we're not going to be able to. So having said that, I think I'm going to give it to, by popular demand, actually no, raise a hands for Creston.
Yeah,
I vote for
give it-
myself.
Okay, there we go.
Ted Williams pick kind of.
All right. Well,
Screwed all of us.
with that being said, that's going to do it for Hawk Talk here today. We're going to get you back to some more alternative music here on 91.7 The Edge. Have a good night.